The atomic bomb has been the controller of global foreign policy since its inception. All the world leaders know of its capabilities, but what if nuclear power got in the wrong hands? What would happen to mankind? The sum of all fears starts with an Israeli airship being taken down. The cargo on the ship is a nuclear fission bomb. The bomb is separated from the ship, and years go by with no one noticing it until it is completely covered by dust in the Golan Heights. In the next scene, we are with the president and his team walking briskly to the war room. The US is under the threat of a nuclear attack from the Russians. The president has to decide how they will respond. The president is advised by his council to launch a nuclear weapon. He decides he will, and the bomb is about to be sent off until he gets a call from his wife. She tells him that the dress code tonight is black tie. It is revealed that this is just a practice drill for the president. They pause and leave. On his way out he speaks to his advisor Billy Cabot. Billy thinks that the US should find another country to face off against rather than the Russians. The president doesn't think that there is a bigger enemy than Russia. The president asks Billy to send someone to the Kremlin to deliberate with the Russians about decommissioning their nukes. Billy volunteers, although the president would rather send someone else. In the next scene, we meet Jack, an analyst at the CIA headquarters. Jack and his co-workers watching the news and arguing about what they are looking, Chilinsky or Cherpisky, they can't seem to tell the Russian leaders apart. Later we are in Vienna, Austria. It is a gathering of the First People's Investment Firm, a terrorist organization. The speaker on the podium is a neo-Nazi, billionaire named Dressler. He tells the other dignitaries that Europe has always found itself in a fight between the East and the West, forced to give up their sovereignty to please the Russians or the United States. He thinks a new dawn is coming with Europe being in charge. The following day we are in the Middle East, and a Syrian scrap metal collector finds the bomb from the beginning. It has been underground for nearly 30 years. He calls someone who verifies that it is a bomb. They take it out of the ground and drop it. It's a dud. They will try and sell it. The following day Russian President Zorkin dies. Later that day Jack is at his apartment with his girlfriend. She answers it and hands it to Jack. It's from work. He tells his girlfriend that it's an emergency and he has to leave immediately. It is revealed that his girlfriend thinks he is a historian. He has kept the secret from her that he is in the CIA. In the next scene Jack is walking through the CIA headquarters with his boss and his co-worker. She is telling him that the Russian president died a few hours ago. They are swearing in a new president, Alexander Nemerov. Jack is excited that Nemerov is the new president because he wrote a paper on him and he predicted that he will be next. Jack's boss tells him that he was right and everyone is reading his paper now, most notably Billy Cabot, the president's advisor. They meet Billy in the hallway and he asks Jack to follow him. He is rushed into the meeting with the CIA Intelligence Committee. Billy tells Jack that he is going to be working closely as an advisor for the president, but warns Jack that he should make sure that the words he chooses as an advisor should be thought through, and he should avoid making any rushed decisions. Later that day Jack is in a meeting with the intelligence community. The chairman is asking Mr. Cabot whether or not Nemerov is a threat. Billy says he isn't and it is too soon to say that. Billy believes they shouldn't respond to Nemerov until they get feedback from American spies in Russia. The chairman pauses for a moment and agrees with Cabot. Later Jack tells Billy that he knows that Nemerov is nowhere near a threat, that the United States will be fine. Billy thinks Jack is stubborn and he should wait on any news from the spies before making that assessment. The following night the bomb that was discovered has found a buyer. The buyer is a South African black market arms dealer named Olsen. He says that it is worthless and will buy it for $400. The Syrian scrap collector is happy to receive anything for it. Later Olsen begins speaking to Dressler on a secure chat. Dressler wants to buy the nuclear weapon for $50 million. The following day Billy, Ben, and the rest of the team arrive at the committee to decommission nuclear weapons. Here they meet Nemerov, the new Russian president, who is happy about the comprehensive research that Jack did on him. Later Billy and Nemerov talk about Chechnya. Nemerov politely tells Billy to tell the US president that Chechnya is an internal matter and that it is none of their business. In the next scene, Billy and Jack arrive at the office where the Russian warheads are. They see all the scientists and Jack asks about 3 missing scientists. He is answered by a strange old Russian advisor. When they leave, Billy tells Jack that he is convinced that the Russians don't know where the 3 scientists are. The 3 missing scientists are the 3 people one would need to make a bomb. They realize that they need to investigate the issue expeditiously. Later when they land back in the States, Billy approaches Johnny, an American spy, and tells him that he needs him to find out what happened to the 3 missing scientists. Afterwards, Billy goes to Jack and tells him to meet him at the Hilton for a presidential address. Later Jack arrives with his girlfriend and it is all going well until all of the president's advisors have to leave. They meet to discuss recent events. The Russians have sent heavy artillery attacks on Chechnya with gas weapons. Nemerov has launched the largest chemical attacks in history. The president asks his team of advisors what is the United States' best move without being aggressive and starting a war. They advise the president to send in peacekeepers. They all agree to fly in American peacekeepers from Turkey. Billy suggests they ask Jack what he thinks. For the first time, Jack speaks his mind to the president. Jack thinks that Nemerov didn't do it. Based on his research, he thinks it could have been a general, but not Nemerov. Everyone thinks that Jack is wrong and is being too sentimental. The facts all point to Nemerov being a hardliner. The president asks to be alone with his senior staff. Jack and the others leave. In the next scene, Jack is watching the news and Nemerov is giving a speech where he admits to bombing Chechnya. He says it was his sole decision to end the terrorism. Jack was wrong. The following night we are with the First People's investment firm. They are discussing the plan of what will happen when the bomb they have purchased arrives. It is revealed that the plan is to unite the Nazi sympathizers of the world behind the attack on Russia and the United States. One of the representatives wishes to no longer be a part of it because of what has happened in Chechnya. The traitor is killed. The following day we are at the docks, and we meet Mason, who works for the First People's investment firm. He is there to collect the bomb. The time has come, he awaits its arrival. Meanwhile, President Nemerov is at his home when he sees the US president make an address. He states that Nemerov's attack on Chechnya needs a swift and effective response from the West. Nemerov's wife asks him what he is going to do now. Nemerov says that he expected the president to say that. Nemerov will do nothing about it. The following day we are at the CIA headquarters. Jack tells his co-workers that Nemerov wouldn't use nuclear weapons or tanks. Jack thinks that Nemerov is sending a message. He didn't bomb Chechnya. Later we are with Johnny, who is looking for the 3 missing Russian scientists. He finds out that the Russians are in Ukraine, and he sends the information back to Billy and the team in America. Billy concludes that the Russians would launch a bomb from Ukraine to allow Russia to maintain total deniability. The following night Jack gets a call from Billy. He tells him to come outside. Billy tells Jack that he is going to need him to help Johnny in Ukraine. He wants Jack to be a spy. He needs him to go with Johnny to do recon on the bomb being built in Ukraine. Jack says he will do it. Later Jack and Johnny arrive at the warehouse. Johnny goes closer to it, while Jack stays by the boat. Johnny gets into the warehouse and sees dead men and no bomb in sight. These men are the missing scientists. It's too late, the bomb is complete and has left. Suddenly a bunch of Ukrainian officers get past Jack and they have Johnny at gunpoint. They are about to shoot him when Jack comes from behind and points a gun at them. Johnny tells Jack to shoot, but he doesn't and convinces them to put their guns down. Later that night they return to their ship and try and figure out what Johnny saw. He tells him he saw 3 dead Russian scientists and a crate from Israel. They are on the same page. They know that the scientists were made to build a bomb before they are killed. The following day we see the bomb collected by Mason from the dock. We see that the bomb has been connected to a vending machine that will be put into a stadium. While this happens, the leader of the Dressler delivers a speech online to the other members. The following day Jack gets a call from his co-worker who tells him that the shipping details reveal that the bomb is headed to the East Coast. Jack rushes to get hold of the duty officer after hearing the news. The president arrives at the stadium unaware that there is a nuclear bomb nearby. Jack tries calling Billy but doesn't get an answer. Jack tries again and finally gets through to him. He finally tells him everything. Billy has a realization that everyone is in danger. They quickly get the president and escape. Later the bomb goes off and sends shock waves all across the East Coast. The helicopter that Jack is in comes crashing to the ground. In the next scene, United States Marines come to save the president whose car has turned over. The following night, the Russian president is woken up by his security. He tells him that there was a massive explosion in America. The president is shocked. He knows that Russia didn't do that. He knows the world will think that they did. Later Jack gets hold of the CIA headquarters. They tell him that the president is fine. They tell Jack that they know the Russians did, and Jack tells them that they're wrong. He tells his boss that they need to prove the Russians didn't do it before they have a total war on their hands. The only person that could help Jack do this is Billy. Billy is near the explosion, so Jack heads right to it. Jack makes it to the radiation assessment team where he wants to investigate where the bomb is from. In the next scene, we see the United States president prepare a statement to the Russians. It is aggressive and the Russian president hears it and turns the Russians' alerts on. Suddenly there is an attack on United States ships. The United States thinks it was the Russians. The Russians continue to say that they didn't do it. That night Jack finds out that the plutonium in the bomb that blew up the stadium was made in the United States. Jack rushes to the Memorial Hospital to tell Billy. After telling the news, Billy dies. Before dying he gives Jack his phone. He tells him to continue communication with a man called Spin Maker. Jack does so and tells Spin Maker, Cabot is dead, and asks questions about the bomb. In the next scene, the president authorizes a bomb attack on Russian bases. The Russians are left with few options. They may have to launch an even greater attack. Later Jack calls the Air Force One to tell them that the Russians didn't do it, but they hang up on him. Later Johnny is in Syria. He is investigating a man with radiation poisoning. It is revealed that the guy with radiation poisoning is the man from the beginning who found the bomb and sold it to Olsen, the arms dealer. The man is on his deathbed and tells him who bought the bomb from him. In the next scene, the United States president puts the weapons on maximum readiness. The next attack will be destruction. Later Jack looks for Mason, the man who set up the bomb at the stadium, but it is revealed that Mason was killed. Jack has to head to the Pentagon before the president does something they will all regret. Jack hitches a ride with an officer and gets on a plane that gets him there. When Jack arrives, he gets in with Billy's access card. He tries speaking to a general to get hold of the president via the line. The general says Jack doesn't have clearance, so he is not allowed. Jack convinces the man that the information will prevent the president from making a bad decision. In the next scene, Jack is communicating directly with the Russian president over a secure line. He tells them that he knows they didn't fire the attacks. It is revealed by Jack that the bomb was bought by a neo-fascist called Dressler, and he paid 3 Russian scientists to rebuild the bomb and send it to the US to be set off, and send the two countries on a collision course. Jack is asking the Russian president to put their weapons down, and the Russians comply. That night Jack goes and kisses his girlfriend, happy to be alive. Later we see Russia and the United States signing peace agreements. While this is happening, Johnny goes and kills Dressler, the man who bought the bomb, and all of the neo-Nazis. In the final scene, Jack is approached by an old Russian man who says he was friends with Billy. The old man is a spin maker. He explains he and Billy worked as back channels to prevent the disaster of misinformation. He congratulates Jack on his engagement and says they will be speaking soon. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.